Hello, everybody, and welcome to the This Week in the Tech Boy podcast. Breaking news coming in just now as Christy Lamont has conceded the race to me as we're about to win. So hopefully that happens as it's going out live right now. When it goes out over on those channels, it's going to be like an hour after. So yeah, breaking news over there on here. It's probably going to be a shorter podcast episode today. Not much happened in technology news. Nintendo did release their new Nintendo Switch 2 delayed here in the United States, but we can still talk about the specifications of this device. And I was actually scrolling through Quora, the answering website. I was trying to find some of those like stupid people questions on there because like if you cannot emulate something, if you don't know something, like we always did this. So you can at least try to read about dumb people who did it over on Quora and Reddit. It's always a fun time over there reading the amount of dumb people that are on that on that website, and there's like the amount of dumb people that do stupid things over there, like having parties and bringing horses into them, and then the horse messes up the living room, and they have to do all kinds of things to get out of it. I mean, stuff that you can't even make up for SSLTW. I mean, SSLTW, the election, the book, right? We have a literal scooter chase. Never in a million years would I have thought, hey, let's have a horse come into the school. Well, actually, that's the thing of cows, but let's have a horse come into Hazel 1.0's house and like eat the files or something like that. Yeah. So here's one thing that I was thinking about. It's like journalists, right? They have these news websites, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, AP News, all these people. They have these news websites, right? And it's great. They report the news. They type in what they're supposed to type in, especially AP. They formed in like 1846. I think they were one of the first reporters to report over on the Civil War. They use, Morse code, telegrams, telegraphs, all kinds of things like that to communicate with their field reporters. Like where did the reporters actually go find stories? Like how? How on earth did they find out stories? Especially back then. Always in these Adventure and Odyssey episodes, you have these kids who come in and are like, "Oh, well, there's this thing going on," and then they'll go into like the student newspaper archives and investigate something. You even see things like of this nature in like the real newspaper over there, like Odyssey Press, First Press, something like that. And the reporters are going out to investigate something. Like, where do they get this information? Like, and I think people have actually gotten worse at this. That's why the news is so boring. Like, there's this application called Citizen that reports all the crimes that are happening near you in real time. There's this house by me that's been like broken into once or twice, and it's really interesting. Like a house was actually broken into, but when you go search the headline or search up the address to go find the news reports up to the local affiliates. We have Fox affiliates here. We have KPRC, and then there's KHOU. I don't know what affiliate they are there, but those are the top like 3 news channels they have on TV for free, and then you have the website. So of course it's not going to be reported by like cable news or CNN or whatever. There was nothing about the housebreak, and there's just like some boring thing that's coming up here. Let me just go on. Let me pull up KHOU 11, and just not the 11, not the WAFTA, but the actual news here. Here's KHOU 11. These are some headlines that they have presented here. I'm just going over to their website. Let's talk about the severe weather that we're having or whatever. Cougs fans representing in San Antonio had a Final Four matchup with Duke. Yeah, see, it's like, obviously, duh. I mean, obviously that's a big story here. But I find it more interesting to have more of like a local news affiliate that would report, news that's on Citizen, that's already pre-reported for them as well. Speaking of the Final Four, they have this in basketball. Like, I'm always confused. Like, in the Final Four, they have the cheerleaders that are sitting, like, right there on the ground. Okay? Like, in NBA games, right? I've actually been to an NBA game. I've never been to a college basketball game. In NBA games, cheerleaders come out, like, during halftime to go, like, celebrate whoever did the half-court shots and give them the money that they won. They come out for, like, the beginning of the game, like, if they do the national anthem, and then they're gone. Right, they're gone. Right, they're not really the big of a part of the game. It doesn't really matter. We're here to watch basketball, not some like people do some flips. Anyway, in college basketball, they're like right there on on the lines, like right behind the goals, and then right behind them you have like the band members. So like, what would happen if, oh, I don't know, someone does a bad pass and you get smacked in the face, or someone's trying to jump, the ball's going out of bounds, jumping in, and like literally jumped on one of the cheerleaders or band members there. Like, why are they right behind her, and especially why are they sitting on the ground? It doesn't really make sense for that as well. But you know what doesn't really make sense, and it is the Light Phone 3, guys. This is the Light Phone 3. And you know what? Light is playing all the games, and I'm a huge critic of them. It does look like a pretty neat device. It does have more buttons than my phone, so congratulations to Light for that one as well. But I'm a huge critic of this company. Like, I mean, look at these prices: $799 for this, a phone that would not pass, that would not fly in 2007. They'd be like, "Whoa, we have the Nokia N95 here." Like, maybe if you're upgrading from assuming that you're going to be in the year of our Lord 2007, if upgrading from like a flip phone or something like that, maybe. But no, no. Okay, this light phone, or any light phone for that matter, it's just I mean, light phone is probably one of the greatest legal con companies of all time. They release a phone that purposely has 0 features, and then they have this Light Phone 3, and we're going to get into the features they have here that still has the same feature set as a smartphone from 2007. So now they can go around and be like, "Hey guys, look, we added some more features," and they technically be right, and they'll never run out of ideas. They're never going to run out of model ideas. Like when you go between the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and S25 Ultra, oh well, it's lighter and has a slightly different chip, and that's what the selling point is going to have to be, right? Like, yeah, but I mean, Light Phone can be like, this phone has a camera and our last phone didn't. Right, so they can just essentially retcon the last 10 years of smartphone achievement, predicting that we're in 2017, so more like the last 15 years of smartphone achievement. And when they're on the Light Phone 36, they can catch up to Samsung Galaxy S24. Nonetheless, I mean, they are playing every single game. So we're going to get to the specifications here, but let me see if I can read the thing. Wait, where is it? I was reading the website yesterday when I was preparing for this segment, right? They have this whole nice, kind of minimalist, aesthetic little website, black and white here going on. So here we go. A tool for better life. Introducing the Light Phone 3. A tool designed to give you the flourish as a thoughtful, intentional version of yourself. So we're just going to count the amount of games they're playing here. Thoughtful and intentional version of yourself. All right, game number 1. They're playing the digital minimalism thing here. That's, again, a trend on Instagram, which this phone doesn't have. So yeah, no one's actually minimalistic, for the fun of it. Okay, no one's going around, "Hey guys, look, I'm rich, but I actually like to live my life in black and white and have no color and on my screen." Like, not even a metaphor. Like, I actually like to live my life in black and white. If they had glasses that I could only see in black and white, I like that. I'm a minimalist. Of course, I have this like weird looking house, but it has nothing in it. It has an open floor plan for the friends I don't have to come over. Nonetheless, all right, so they're playing the minimalism trend game. All right, that's game number 1. All right, game number 2. We know how difficult it can be go against the grain of society that seems ready to distract you. That's why we created Light Phone 3. All right, game number 2. It's the hey guys, society bad game. Yeah, it's kind of like when you're in youth church and like, "Hey kids, aren't you ready to do something with Jesus? We want you to fast for 30 days to get off of social media, yada, yada, yada." All right. Game number 3, digital detox. It's a huge trend online. Kind of weird, but it's like the entire trend of people who hate the internet yelling and crying about it on the internet. Maybe saying, "Oh, you want to pay more attention to your toddler or you're buying your very first phone." It's maybe they're trying to like sell these to kids, which is kind of stupid because the phone worth $600, and it's trash. It's absolute garbage. All right, and here's your phone here. Oh, yes, and game number 4. It's not explicitly stated here, but they're playing to the e-ink community game. The e-ink community is small in numbers, but they are mighty. So, people love e-ink. So that's game number 4 here. We future-proof this phone so that we can provide meaningful software updates, blah, 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 blah. And they go in and talk about how they hate, what's it called? Obsolescence, planned obsolescence, right? Except the thing is, like, this phone is 3 inches, and, like, you're going to get tired of it in a year, so obviously it's going to be, like, planned obsolescence. Also, They have to like kind of trickle down the features in here. Like maybe the next year they'll be like, hey, we added some video recording features to the phone. They cannot add too many features to the phone because then people are just gonna buy it. And then of course since they're catering to this niche, especially the planned obsolescence niche, the digital minimalism niche, they're gonna be like, oh, well, I don't need to buy anything new. So then they'll come into screwed and they'll go under. All right. Anyway, yep. That's was that game number 4, game number 5. Anyway, here goes the camera part. I almost forgot about that. They added their own camera, and of course, they are going back to nostalgia. Game number 5 or 6. I'll go back and editing and count the amount of games that they're doing here, taking inspiration from their favorite point-and-shoot cameras, and they try to pass this off as with center focus and a fixed focal length. Yeah, guys, no autofocus is a feature now. Yes, that trash digital camera you had back in 2003. It is now on this phone. And you will thank them for it because memories, Now, give credit where credit is due. This phone does have a metal frame, which is nice. Some people like that. It's like an actual feature. USB-C, fingerprint, flashlight, 5G, and an NFC chip, which I was all for fingerprint scanners on phones. As you guys know, like my interest in technology was always, like you can't ever track my interest in like espionage, charting with my interest in technology would be like a perfect 1-to-1 ratio. Like I wanted my first phone to have a fingerprint scanner so I could go around and collect people's fingerprints and then like match them up when I got them from databases. Unfortunately, there are no apps that do that at this time. So yeah. Nonetheless, why does this phone have a fingerprint scanner? Like I said, I'm 1-to-1. I'm all for fingerprint scanners. I'm all for like espionage, which is why I said, oh yeah, guys, I like Pegasus. I like the Israeli spyware. People hated me for that. Anyway, why does this phone have a fingerprint ID? What are you gonna protect? Your text messages from your 3 friends? Okay, it's not like you're getting anything important because the important people are actually using phones from the last decade. Okay, like all this technology here was in the Nokia N95, except for the fingerprint ID and of course 5G, which didn't exist. Also, again, if you're trying to say that your phone has a flashlight and it's on the main page of the website, yeah, there are no features on this phone at all. Also, what do you think about this two-toned, like, you couldn't keep the same, like, black? You couldn't afford, like, we ran out of paint or something? Like, why does this look kind of green? Maybe it's just a screen, but maybe they should use a better camera to take a picture of the phone here, which kind of reminds me of, like, an iPod. Why is this thing $600? And they're trying to sell you that as a discount. Okay, it's made to last. Do we really need a new single phone every single year? Can our phones last 5 years, 10 years? I mean, sure, I'm pretty sure it will last. It says planned obsolescence remains an outrage to us. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It is not an outrage to you. Look, if you guys could actually make a real phone that actually worked and that could, break into the market, you'd actually do that. Okay, but since you couldn't do that, you decided to make 3-inch phones that are now talking about their non-autofocus camera and a flashlight as the big new features of the device. Also, I don't know if the camera takes it in color, but since the screen is e-ink, I think it's only black and white. So, there's that. All right. So look at this text. I'm trying to text on this thing. Also, I remember when we were reacting to the Light Phone 2 that came out, and I'm doubting the screen technology is any different. Why is there a webcam on this thing? What are you going to do? Video call people in black and white HD? Nonetheless. Also on selfies against, the minimalism people. Anyway, like, what is this? Well, let's see what game number 7 is. Oh, also, there's this whole blur about how people use this as their secondary phone. I'm sorry, but if you're sending $600 as a secondary phone, this phone was just made for rich people. Okay, like no one's gonna be giving their kid this phone because like if you're gonna spend $1,000 on the phone, you might as well pay for it, an actual phone. All right, there's a nice speaker grill here for I don't think there's any streaming on here, so you have to go buy your MP3s the old-fashioned way, which it's kind of harder now than it was back then because now everyone's moved to like Spotify and Apple Music, and of course you can download your stuff on there. All right. Oh yeah, see we have the navigation thing here, which is just like, why? Also, look at the bezels on this thing. bezel, bezel, bezel. 2017 called. They want their phone back, and then they will turn it back here. Also, they're trying to that button is going to be used a lot. The talking to the phone button, because like trying to type on this thing, absolutely no, not going to work. Yeah, obviously it's running Light OS. It's actually called Android. Okay. And here are the tools that are available. Again, imagine if your phone from this makes sense for 2007 for feature phones, flip phones. In 2025, people are gonna be like, hey guys, my phone has an alarm, a calculator, a calendar. It can even play music, podcasts, timers. If you look at you like what? Also, notice the game that they're playing here again. Alarm and timer are on here twice. Alarm, timer. Yeah, usually that's called clock. I'm actually shocked they didn't put available tools include clock, alarm, timer, world clock. You guys can know what time it is in Israel. You guys can know what time it is in the UK. You guys can know what time it is in India. All while on the same phone that costs $600. Isn't that impressive? Also, then they have the whole, oh guys, it's handcrafted. We pay our employees good wages, and this phone was made with love. Whole thing here, and then once again, the big tech hating thing. Everyone hates big tech except for me. Hey guys, look. Our phones don't have the top, 10 most popular apps. No sir. We are far above. Well, Apple's not really an app, so let's count. We are far above Google. Imagine having Google on your phone, even though we actually use the operating system. But let's forget that. Oh, and we're so far above having X. We're so far above having Snapchat, which I mean, of any of these apps, Snapchat should not be on your phone, on the light phone, not on your personal phone. Because what are you gonna take a picture of? Okay, look, it's a weird face of me at 3 a.m. in black and white. Hey guys, we got Instagram again. Like, what a useless app that would be on this phone here. And Amazon, which I guess they don't like Amazon because you can exchange goods at a decent price, and then you get goods quickly. Capitalism, free trade, blah blah blah. Yes, exactly. It is a toy phone, but with extra steps. He gets it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, like, what was it? Like, how dare you have Amazon in there? Capitalism, free trade. We can't have any of that. No, sir. No, sir. We want you ordering, direct to person. No, not even ordering, over the internet. Because, we actually don't want you to use our phone that much. We want you to pay $600 for a phone that's trash, so then you don't use the phone. But you actually keep the phone because, you're digital minimalism, and you actually, you hate big tech and you want to stick it to them, whatever. Well, so you're actually going to have to send in your packages via mail, okay? The Pony Express, actually. No Morse code, people. No telegrams, no telegraphs. All right, we're on a mission. Yes, it's always these random, small companies with 3 people working for them. They're always on these, weird missions to come out, change the world. You're not going to change the world. Honest pricing? Honest, they say. Yes, guys, $800 for a phone that if you introduced it in 2010, they'd be looking at you like, what is wrong with you? Now let's pretend that the phone had 3G instead of 5G, okay? Because 5G technically didn't even exist. Hey guys, look, I have this great phone. I'm going to be selling it for I don't know what inflation would be back then. So let's say $600. Let's say $600 in 2010 it'd be worth $800 in 2024 or 25, whatever. All right. Hey guys, I have this great phone. It's $600. Black and white touchscreen. So it's like an iPhone, but in black and white. It doesn't have any apps. It only plays, local things, local content. And yeah, that's it. Oh, how much did you say it cost? Oh yeah, $600. Plus you're gonna have to pay your contract. They would kick you out of there. They'd be like, well, who wants to buy a black and white non-iPhone? If you want a black and white phone, go back to 2002 and get a flip phone from that era. And they honest pricing. We have no third-party apps that sneakily take your data. All right, yeah, great. Honestly, if this company was honest, they'd be like, we have no third-party apps. That's the honest thing. You can add they take your data. Well, yeah, but they're actually useful. So, yeah, that's the Light Phone 3. They're playing 6 or 7 games here. The one game that they are not playing is the one game that they're not playing is the Oh wow, the photos are in color. All right, so that's great. Anyway, the one game that they're not playing is the eco-friendly game, which I expect the Light Phone 4 to have. That's the one thing that Fairphone has over them. But let's go to the games that they're playing once again. So they're playing the nostalgia game. They're playing the digital minimalism game, the just minimalism game at all. They're playing the digital detox game. They're playing like the repairability anti-establishment game. They're playing the e-ink game. They're playing like the weird, they're playing like the photography game too, but not actually that good at photography, but like just the just the aesthetic. Okay, this the whole company is just an aesthetic. But like if their stock price, it's like you have these meme coins, meme tokens. It's just an aesthetic. Like all the hype is just an aesthetic. And then they're playing the anti-big tech game and the anti-we don't sell data game, yada, yada, yada. All right. I was watching an interview for an actual CEO of an actual company of Snapchat here. I was watching him on Diary of a CEO, which is like a YouTube channel. They go around and they interview CEOs of companies. I haven't seen the Light Phone CEO on there. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, it was like a 2-hour long interview. But he was actually talking about something that was kind of important. Right? His parents, they let him build. His parents didn't let him watch TV, but they did let him build a computer when he was 12 years old. So I went up. He said he was in 6th grade, so I'm just going to assume 12 years old. So I looked it up. He was born in 1990, which means his computer, when he built this, was around 2002, maybe 2001. So just think the Novacom era for all the Adventures in Odyssey fans that are listening. Of course, there's no one listening right now, but on replay, I have Adventures in Odyssey fans who listen. All right, and so he's 12 years old. He's building his own computer, and his parents are like, "Yeah, we'll let you build your computer, but you can't connect it to the internet." Which leads me to this grand, like, interesting question: like, what was he doing on the computer? Like, again, it's the same problem that we have now. What are people actually doing on the computers without the internet? And that's why I was on this website called Softpedia, called Get Multimedia, but Softmedia, which is a website that shows all these applications. It's actually pleasantly surprised to see that there was, and this is on the internet, because I still haven't answered the question like what he was doing on the computer. And we can talk more about Snapchat when we get into that segment. But like, what was he doing on that computer? And this Quora thread actually brought me much comfort. And then there was another Quora thread that's just like deranged idiots. Because I want to talk about my new strategy here, where we just reply to a lot of people over on X on there's this guy called Internet Hall of Fame, just finds out these random screenshots and random videos, and I was racking my brain thinking, like, where are they getting these videos? Where are they getting this content? Apparently, just getting it off of Reddit and Instagram. And look, I hate that people can get famous by reposting this content. But look, we have to win. Okay, we have to grow this business here. Right? We do not make money. Okay, like we actually have to make some money here. So you're gonna be seeing some interesting changes. Coming to the channel, right? So if you're saying, oh, why are you posting all these random videos and like memes from Quora of a whole bunch of stupid people? There's an entire subreddit for stupid people on Quora. We can have an entire episode about all those stupid people over on Quora. Yeah. So, but this Quora thread, unlike the other one, there was some post talk about like what happened if ducks rose up and stole the means of production or something like that. Like no one cares about your communist sentient ducks. Okay, I added in the communist part, but I'm pretty sure that's a core thing as well. I'm pretty sure people love their commie ducks. Anyway, what were computers, especially like laptops, back during 1999? So this is like 3 years before he built his computer, the Snapchat CEO. And the people used computers or internet pretty much back then. And this guy built his own computer in 1978. Whoa, he looks like that guy from that Lord of the Rings movie that everyone like apparently watched and now is in like all over not to be. Like, bro, could you not use Lord of the Rings and what's that other book? Hobbit, something, analogies. Hey guys, this guy's just like Gandalf, who's fighting the orcs of the lost power of the rings. Well, no one knows what you're yapping about. Anyway, what were computers, especially like laptops, back in 1999? At some point in the 1990s, I got a secondhand laptop to use on my boat. So this assumes it's like 95, 96. So we're like 6 years behind, but I'm pretty sure he didn't build like the really best computer. So maybe we're like just a few years behind in tech. Look at these specs here, and it's kind of interesting. Like my phone is more powerful than this. So if you just think about this, it's just that computers used to be really, really popular because they could do these things that phones could not, because cell phones didn't really exist at this time. They did, but they weren't that popular, and also didn't have that much power. It's just that like my phone is more powerful than this computer, so we really shouldn't feel guilty about being on it. Let's look at these specs. There's a 386 CPU. There's no way for me to quantify whatever that means. Not much RAM, a small hard disk, and a 3.5-inch floppy disk drive. No CD drive, no Wi-Fi, no Ethernet, no Bluetooth. No, there's no way that there's no internet on this computer at all. Like no way you could get it. No Bluetooth, no Ethernet, no Wi-Fi. So, I mean, did I have a phone jack? Maybe get a modem or something. Probably a serial interface. I forget. I put Linux on it using a stack of floppy disks. I forgot what the screen was like. May have been monochrome. Before I attended, it actually did work. Interesting. He could transfer files to floppies. No watching movies. That'd be kind of interesting. Like think about a laptop from the 90s that could play like VHSs. Computers used to run off of cassette tape. So I know it's like much smaller, but like laptops were kind of thick back then. They could you could stick a VHS in there. Obviously, you could stick a VHS in a desktop computer. The CPU couldn't handle more than a 128 pixel wide video, which is really interesting because we have 4K video that can just play on our phones natively, heck, if we wanted to. So like, look how much technology has come. Around the same time, I got a new laptop with a logic analyzer. I looked up what it was. I have no idea why they cost $200,000, but just analyzes electrical signals. How, like, for $20,000 for a logic analyzer? Are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure you can just make one of those with an Arduino nowadays. Compared to my current laptop, we don't know what that is. But yeah, here's the laptop. Kind of really interesting to think that like my phone is more powerful than this. Like he was just using this to like write documents. Let's see what kind of interface we got. We got some VGA. Oh, this must be the new one because that's some USB right there. So yeah, kind of interesting. Like he was just writing documents on this thing, and it's pretty useful. Transferring files to floppy disks, and that's probably what the Snapchat CEO was doing. Or maybe playing some games as well. Another interesting thing is like those games, LAN games. I like why'd they take that functionality out of games? Not like I care. I care from like a psychological perspective, like because like I have nothing else to care about. But yeah. Anyway, back to the Snapchat CEO guy. He Snapchat, I think he said it came out in like 2010. He actually did this as a way, this 2010, to transfer photos between two people, but faster than what sending a SMS might have been, which is really interesting. But like, why do they still exist to this day? Like it has Teen Pack Lobby. Teen Pack has been on a roll. TikTok has been unbanned for another 75 days. So congratulations to Teen Pack. Once again, patriotism, so just yada yada yada. Maybe I'll redo the video. Maybe I won't have like the Teen Pack people standing like right here, and then have the national anthem and the flag flying or whatever. Nonetheless, good for them. But like, have they been lobbying the Snapchat CEO as well too? Because like, how on earth does Snapchat make money? No one in the right mind is like Snapchat AI is just like dumb. Actually, Gemini 2.0, I've actually been able to get my hands on it and try it out. It seems pretty decent. Maybe we can have a segment on that. Anyway, Snapchat AI is just dumb. Why would you pay for Snapchat Premium? All of Snapchat's videos are just like seeing this random man who's fat go around and trying to date these other women or men. Anyway, he tries to date someone. He kind of looks like a man because like he's 500 pounds, so no one can tell. And then they have like this woman who's like 120 pounds, like dragging him around, like, "Hey guys, would you like to? I'm your sister." And like, "Oh wow, guys, look." I guess they think she's pretty, so they think, "Oh, maybe her sister's gonna be pretty." And then like the only way to attract it to her is because like gravitational force. Yeah. Hey, this is Gemini 2. Let's go with Gemini. Let's see what Gemini says about this. Emily, as I'm pulling up Gemini, yeah. So like I said, Snapchat is like terrible for video. No one's gonna pay for premium. Their AI sucks. So like, sending photos costs them money. It goes through their servers. So, like, how much are people paying for the filters on there? Not customers, but like the ad people. How much are the ad people paying for filters? Like, I got like, I'm pretty sure there's like a Heinz filter or something like that. I don't even remember this. I'm not on this app all the time. A, I don't have anyone to talk to on there, and B, like, I'm not a teen girl, so yeah. All right, here's Gemini. Oh, let's see what the gravitational. Let's see how smart Gemini 2.0 is. What is the average man is like what 100? The average woman's 170 pounds in the United States. I don't know. So let's go with 190. All right, let's see what Gemini says about the gravitational attraction on a 500-pound object on a 100-pound object. I can't believe I said lib. Anyway, kilograms. We got to use these common units. All right, so it converts to kilograms. Let's say distance is, I don't know what, 3 feet. Let's pretend it's like COVID, but like not. All right, there you go. The distance is 3 feet. So let's find out how much attraction Gorlak the Destroyer has on these poor random men. So it's you gotta put this in meters. Well, okay, this is all right, and it's 1.560 times 10 to the 6 negative 6. Sorry, newtons. So that's the most attraction that he, she, whatever will ever get from anyone. All right. So yeah, that's Snapchat for you. Bunch of 10 to the negative 6 times 1.3 Newton people walking around here. Like, and I'm pretty sure, and unfortunately I can't poll this because if I could poll this, I'd be friends with them. But if I knew like enough teenage girls to poll, then I'd find out how much of them have actually engaged with a paid filter. Let me open up my Snapchat on here. Yeah, let's open up. Let me open up Snapchat here. And I'm just gonna swipe through what the paid filters are on here. The United States Navy is the first filter on here. How much do they pay for this? It's actually in the game, so shut up. Let's see what another filter on here is. Well, it doesn't look like the paid ones are popping up. Maybe I don't, interact with them. There's also like filters that you yourself can pay for, which I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Like, what are you gonna become, like total teenage queen of your queen of your friends or whatever? Even that would be like a sad plot for a book. Imagine SSA but like, everyone's just fighting over Snapchat. All right, speaking of SSA I would really like to write a book about, SSA the web series, that pick up from right off as Ethan Shea, runs for president. But the problem with that is that SSA the web series, is, like 99% accurate. Okay. Like, we're just going to change a few things, of course, other than the names. But, it's 99% accurate based on, actual source material, actual classified documents. That's why the website's called SSA The Classified. But with the book series, we move into, it ends in November of ambiguous year. We didn't actually give it a year, but it ends in November of 2023. Because, like, the latest thing is S22 plus. So it at least happens within the year of 2020, after the year of 2022. Right, but we didn't date it so that, it's still relevant to the 3 people who bought it in the year of our Lord 2029. But, like, it'd be near impossible to try to merge the series together. Okay, like I said, we're trying to become a teen and tech media company here, right? Because that's where the money is. There's always going to be teenagers, and there's not that much out there for them. Like, remember when we went to 17 magazine and it was like 5 ways you might know if you're gay? Like, well, one cares, okay? Like, bro, like, when did your logo become the pride flag? Nonetheless, the problem with this is that in SSLTW, the book, the election, the book, right? We start off in August and we end up in November. So it spans 3 months of our time. However, in SCLTW, the web series, we're spanning multiple times as well, right? The thing is that the election in SCLTW, the web series, is held in September, which means that, of the actual, president, which, I unfortunately lost because, I was brand new. Which means if we go by the way that SCLTW, the book series plays it, where Ethan Shea wins, then like half the problems in SCLTW, the web series, like, oh, I don't know, someone, threatening to like throw hydro flasks at other people wouldn't happen because I'd be like, no, we can't have that. The like just all like the student council, episodes or posts on the website. You're like, no, this doesn't really make any much sense, right? And also, there's this whole like trend thing of Operation Babbling Brook Project 2024. There's an entire thread through the entire series where it's just like, hey guys, we need Ethan Shea needs to go to Babbling Brook Mall before the end of the show, and he's going to be manipulating all these events so that this happened. But in SSLTW election, the book, Ethan Chase is like running around the town, like speed running on an electric scooter, holding rallies in the middle of the mall, and like, in the back of a car, like, this is a really important plot point. In the back of a car with some, well, actually, what's your name? Sienna, not Sienna. What's the Samo Sienna? Some girl with an S name. Anyway, some girl with an S name who's a totally new character. Oh, let me pull up her name. Anyway, some 11th grade girl with an S name. Sydney. Yeah, there we go. From Sydney Spills the Tea, comes up and is like, is like on Ethan's team, and she's driving Ethan and Maverick. Ethan and Maverick on the back of the car, right? While Maverick is talking to Hazel on video call, to a volleyball game. And then Ethan makes his appearance into the volleyball game. There's fog, there's smoke, and he opens in like, yeah, and everyone's chanting and everything like that, right? Yeah. If Ethan is just in the back of the car, of random like non-family member students, and then like 2 months later he's like, oh well, I need approval to like go stand outside. Hey guys, let's GCam. I really have to do this with them. Like, no, he's been running around with GCam, like literally running an election, and running around like malls and stuff like that for like the entire series. So it's just not really gonna mesh well. Like, the entire book was just essentially like a fever dream. But like it is based on real events, which is why Allison became interim president, because it really makes sense why President Allison with like with like the whole homecoming thing in the web series. So like it is based off the web series. Sorry, guys, we lost power. Anyway, it's based off events in the web series, but like, it takes creative liberties, right? It's essentially like a whole fever dream of like, hey, what would happen if Ethan Shea did this, plus we add like 7 times more kids, plus like, we just like pretend restrictions don't exist. Plus, like, the school's in a totally different spot. Okay, like in the books in the woodlands, in the web series, it's totally it's not okay. Anyway, so yeah, that's why we can't base a book off the thing, but we can base a book off the end of the thing, and we also may have a new book coming off exploring Molly, Valerie, Elijah, and the entire cast of people who lost backstories. Should we give Allison a backstory? Maybe not. Well, yeah, anyways, going back to SSLTW direction, this can just be an SSLTW episode because, like, we have 2 podcast topics to talk about. So Perplexity didn't have this new feature. They have a Circle to Search, and so on their device. So that's interesting if you're interested in that as well. But back to the whole restrictions thing. Here we are with the SSLTW website. We have Watergate, where we finally get to tell you about how I bugged Gcam totally and legally. All right. Oh, wait a second. Oh, wait. Wow, we have so many posts to get to. So the last time we talked about this, it was the 29th. So I have to go back and see. Okay, so you guys say evangelical. Here we go, March 31st. This is exactly report on the effectiveness and ease of an external ally meetup, March 2024. Totally real report. It's actually posted to the internet in March of 2024. So if you guys can go find the original Google Doc of that, congratulations, my little OSINTs. And I only changed like one word in here. And then I just merged it onto another report from the 29th, pretended it was from the same day. Like I said, we kind of like changed the dates and times of these things. Like, there's gonna be like this study hall scene where like some kid's trying to like deport some other kid. We're gonna kind of like merge those into one scene. And yeah, that does not make any sense without context. Doesn't make any sense in context. I lived through the context. It still didn't make any sense, but who cares? Whatever. Anyway, here's the report on the. And also, this text here is also added here because I tried to like, they'll make it make sense. I'm not just gonna like upload some random document up here. It has to like mesh within the story. But anyway, SSA intelligence is trying to figure out the probability score of key allies meeting up in an external place outside of school and analyze what happens outside the school in varying situations. And that's what I always like to say. Like, if you can't live through a situation, you have to like use Reddit or Quora to find out what other people are doing. Unfortunately, before this website was created, because AI wasn't as good, they were totally and completely unhelpful. So if there's any other kids out there who are reading this website or watching the stream, which no, because it's 0 people reading and watching right now, well, hopefully this helps out the people who don't read. So, yeah. So anyway, SSA performs internal investigations and talks about the trickle-down ruleonomics, which essentially says, any rule that happens to Ethan Shea and will essentially get passed down to Maverick and the other kids. We actually haven't come up with a name for that, so it's going to come important to the other kids, right? Essentially happen at the same time, which is great for the other kids now because they're like, essentially, let's say Ethan Shea is like trying to use a stove at age 12, the other kids can be using it at age 7 or whatever. So, congratulations to him, but Ethan Shea, he's they're going to be at the same time limit. So when kid 2 or 3 Maverick, whatever's at the same time when Ethan Shea is at, then he'll be probably more advanced. Anyway, rules have a chance that's challenging the non-existence of certain team-centric rules. It's prevalent. Advanced laws seem unnecessary due to the fact it's from a societal level, a good kid, yada yada yada. This entire point was just written for CSM / not to be. Like this entire point was just like, hey guys, look, we're good people. Okay, this is posted onto Reddit into a CSM. By the way, did this the precedent having a boy come over? Yada yada yada. We go over to 2017 precedent. Yada yada yada, and then we go on. Why is this in black? Okay, anyway, I have to change this back to white. This is a report that seeks to find a parental precedent on yes or no on a potential out-of-school moral outing within the first half of 2024. Common belief is that it would not be allowed statistically, but there is a proverbial wiggle room within the precedents, presumably if our allies requested me to put a Make Friends Act of 2019 to 2022. See, this is what I did in my free time. I had nothing better to do. Like, literally nothing. Okay, I'm over here reading, like, legal documents of this, and this is actual real research that I actually did. So yeah, this is I'm not making this stuff up. Okay, imagine like making up some legal documents to like tell you a story of friends and everything. Anyway, to make your own Make Friends was an act that mandated that I sit at a table if I was invited to lunch, even if I didn't want to. Thank you, Liberty Prep and Nika for that one there. Not really, but this act was caused in my time in Christian school, online school, and not really. Well, yeah. Well, you guys sit at the table. Yeah, sure, if you want to teleport. From public school, 10th grade, and first half of 11th grade, was invoked multiple times when, oops. I have to go fix that. Make your own decisions that implied to internet activity as defined by mine, that's line, yada, yada, yada. You guys can read this as well. I'm going to go fix that because you can barely see it. Anyway, Watergate. That's the story you guys have all been wanting to hear. Well, I use my audio tape to like totally bug Gcam. Look at this. Look at this. And thank you to some AI app for this, where I add my little headset on. And then we got Gcam and a spy little background here designed by FreeFrag. As tension flared between the palm positive Gcam and the Okay. SSA allies and disagreements and distress swirled across CSM, and people offering all sorts of conflicting advice. Essentially, on CSM, the people were like, they're like, I was planning this thing out, and I was like, okay, guys, we need this. We need to have a plan. And they're like, well, what are they going to wear? How the heck am I supposed to know what they're going to wear? Fool. I mean, these people had seen Ava Harper. They've been like, what's wrong with you? And yeah, that's why I'm all Kate Gate and Modesty Ward 3. Like, bro, I don't have time for this. All these random, Christians over here, like, oh my goodness, it's a stomach. Goodness, yeah. Again, like, they have less of a life than me, honestly. Like, bro, touch grass. Nonetheless, anyway, back at headquarters, I clapped an old phone with espionage tools and dusted off my headset. Weeks earlier, I let people talk into the phone. Someone really loved that for some reason. She was like, I don't know why. Anyway, I got a voice activated recorder. A recorder arrived because remember that Talbot recorder I reviewed somehow was lost. It's always like whenever I need to go on some type of mission, I've always been like stockpiling all these spy toys, but whenever I actually need to go on an actual real mission, they're always like gone or something. It's like we have a nuclear stockpile, but then they're gone when you actually need to nuke someone. Anyway, the recorder arrived later, especially if it remains skeptical of GCAM's capabilities. See, the premise of this is that GCAM was saying that they were going to build a spy agency to destroy SSA from the inside out. However, of course, we doubt those claims. But remember, Summer was actually under investigation for being a foreign agent of Liberty or Energizer. So, I mean, it could have been true. And, they didn't make these claims true. So, that essentially just gave us a reason to do this and get away with it. So, you're welcome. Anyway, they're whispering of building a new spy agency and destroying SSA with facts and logic. SSA still hasn't uncovered any spy toys or agencies, but the tape revealed interesting tidbits. Someone asked about my favorite food, yada, yada, yada. We can have a whole episode about the entire ridiculous questions they're asking. It was like, remember November 9th, 2022? Yeah, remember that? Just remember this as March 22nd, 2024. And then yada yada yada. They ask some questions about modesty. I go in and yap about got questions because of course I do. And then I go around, get some fake tapes here, and go in and we like help out Jayla and all these people. And go in. You guys can go read this story as well. All right, now we got the crushed where essentially I'm kicked off as CSM says NTB. So, you guys have heard that, seen that, been there, done that. All right, our last thing that we were supposed to talk about. Let me pick up my notes here. Oh, the Nintendo Switch, that came out. So it's coming out. So interesting. It has a really big screen. So that's nice. And for the last thing about meme accounts and joke accounts, hope you guys like those because that's essentially what we have to become nowadays to become great and to win. Right? This is the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, look how big that screen is. There's a Mario Kart World game, which actually kind of looks interesting because it's like open world. So that's great. Let's see. Any comments? Any chats? Well, no. God bless. Let's see what my follower account is right now. 912. All right, Christy. By the time you hear this, it might be at 1,000. God bless. Tech Talk. See you later.